116 miles long with over 100 tributaries. It forms the border between the UP and Wisconsin and holds a variety of fish including smallmouth bass, walleye, pike, muskie, and what is probably its most overlooked species, the lake sturgeon. I tagged along with Wisconsin DNR fisheries expert Mike Donofrio and his crew on a recent sturgeon stalking operation on the Menominee River.
We're here today along the Menominee River just below the Sturgeon Falls Dam, and we're stalking 1,000 yearling sturgeon. Prior to construction of these dams, there was free movement of sturgeons for 75 miles of the Menominee River. Once they constructed all these dams, then they started to block the movement of these fish. And fish can't get upstream from Green Bay to this site. So what happened was when the dams were built in the 1920s, it created some landlocked populations, and there's a good landlocked population between the second and third dam, which we call Grand Rapids and Upper Scott. And then there's a landlocked population below White Rapids to Grand Rapids Dam. This is the only stretch of the river where we stock, is this section below Sturgeon Falls Dam. We don't have a good population from White Rapids Dam up to the Sturgeon Falls Dam. We don't know why. It probably happened decades ago that there's a void here, there's no sturgeon in this section of the river. And we've been stocking this stretch of the river from Sturgeon Falls Dam to Chalk Hills Dam, about 20 miles of river, for 30 years now. This is our 30th year of stocking. So what we're trying to do is restore this population so that we have a spawning population that will spawn below this dam or any other suitable habitat in between here and Chalk Hill. We have these tags in about 15,000 fish right now. They're called passive integrated transponder tags, PIT tags. So it's the same technology they use for tagging dogs and cats at a vet shop. And 809 of them went out today. Every sturgeon that we're handling, we're scanning it for a tag. If it doesn't have a tag, we're putting one in. If it does have a tag, we're recording that number down and then looking it up in our database on the history of that fish. So as many of the stocked fish as we can, we try to put these tags in, as well as any other fish that we handle throughout the year. And then the other thing is they're marked, like cut that off with a scalpel. So it's an external mark to identify that's a hatchery fish. We know the length of that fish we catch it a year from now. Maybe it's 18 inches, maybe it's 14 inches. You know, we get growth rates, really good stuff. Sturgeon are very slow growing fish. The males don't basically mature. It's more of an idea of the size of the fish. Once they hit it in the low 40s, 43, 45 inches, then the males will be mature, and that might be at 15 to 25 years of age in the Menominee River. And the females, the smallest female that we've seen that's ripe is 50 inches. So once they hit 50 inches, those females are spawning. They're in good condition. The males will spawn every year, but they might spawn every other year, depending on the individual fish. And then the females will spawn anywhere from their period of spawning is every 3 to 7 years they spawn. So that's why going to a 60-inch size limit, we're allowing those females to spawn multiple times and get as much offspring out of each female as possible. In the Lake Michigan basin, the whole basin around 4 states, this is the main producer right here. This is the largest population of sturgeon is out of the Menominee River right here. 60 plus years, there's been a hook and line season. It's a fall hook and line season. It actually started out to be 2 fish over 36 inches, and as we start to find out how many fish were actually harvested, we've been raising the size limit and reducing the numbers of fish that you can catch. Currently, right now, you can't fish from the first dam right in Marinette, Menominee down to Green Bay for sturgeon, but you can fish all the way up from that first dam up to this dam right here at Sturgeon Falls. And the season opens up the Saturday before Labor Day every year and ends September 30th. And you can catch 1 fish over 60 inches. You have to have a sturgeon stamp to fish, and they're bottom feeders, so they're sucking food up. They don't have any teeth. They're kind of basically extending that mouth like a vacuum cleaner and sucking things up. Fairly easy. You find a deep hole, put on a night crawler, and go ahead, soak a night crawler and sit there with your anchor. You can even bank fish for them if you can find a deep hole. And we have registration stations up and down the river, and it's mandatory that you have to register those fish. The best places to fish are below, between the White Rapids Dam and the Upper Scott Dam there.